All right. Once again, Red Hawk is here joining us today. How are you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
You too, man. You too. I want to start off. I usually save my rants for later on in the show, but I've been thinking about this for like 3 days. And so I got to get it off my chest. And since we're here, I'm just going to do it here. I'm Orthodox, and we read a lot about the saints, the martyrs, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things I noticed was after Charlie Kirk got shot, the people like exposing themselves to Christianity increased like exponentially. And I was like, this is crazy because sometimes you read those stories of the martyrs and you're like, yeah, that's a cool story, but really it happened that way? Or you'll hear stories about like people in ISIS that behead a Christian, and some of them like convert there on the spot. But to witness that people like initially immediately convert upon someone getting killed in a situation like this is wild.
Yeah, I I mean, I don't want to necessarily like throw myself into the camp of people who converted around the spot, but I mean, I haven't particularly been a regular churchgoer in well over 15 years at this point, but
Mm,
I made damn sure to go to church on this Sunday, and I went
yeah.
to confession, on the same day. I mean, it's I don't know. It was quite the experience. I was really shooken up, dude. Like the first, 48-ish hours. I slept maybe a collective of like 3 hours over like 2 days. It like I took that hard, man. I was just thinking like, really? Charlie Kirk of all people, man.
Of
Like
all people.
I
Yep.
just thought in my head that he was just going to be like this fixture on the right for like basically like forever, you know? I mean, like I didn't really pay attention to him like too much because, you know, uh, I mean, I kind of just put him in this box over there. He's like, oh, he's kind of just on like the normal conservative kind of deal, and he does his own thing, and it's not for me. I'm not going to counter signal him, but I'm just really not going to pay attention to him too much, and he's just doing his thing, you know?
Mm.
Um, but now I think a lot of people have just really had like time to process it in the last week, and I don't know, like, he's really going to be missed, man. He really is.
You know, I mean, I subscribed to Turning Point USA years ago to their like YouTube channel and kind of paid attention, but I wasn't like overly paying attention. You know, I just kind of I would see clips pop up and I would like watch the clips and et cetera, et cetera. It wasn't a huge deal to me. Like I wasn't a big Charlie Kirk fan. Then it was like, what was it last year or the year before? It was either 2024 or 2023. He did an interview with Curtis Yarvin and talked to Curtis Yarvin. And a lot of people in my circle, I don't know if you had this, but there are a lot of people in my circle that got excited about it because he was able to talk philosophy and political philosophy with Curtis Yarvin. And a lot of people were kind of shocked by that. Like, I think everybody kind of looked at Charlie Kirk, at least from where we stand in the political spectrum, a lot of people looked at Charlie Kirk as kind of like a Reagan conservative. It was
Mhm.
like it was like my grandpa's conservatism. It was like no big deal to me. Like anytime somebody called him a radical, I was just like, you people have lost your minds. Like,
Mhm.
he's not radical. I know radicals. I know people that are advocating for a Caesar. Like, I know radical. Like this guy is not radical by any stretch of the imagination. He's a pretty like milk toast conservative. He's not a neocon. He's kind of like almost like paleocon to an extent. I don't know if I would like mark him down as a Buchananite, but he's close to it.
Mhm.
And it was just so weird to see people demonize him the way they did.
Yeah, I think a lot of people also. if people remember back in like the 2016, 2017 days of, the college campus debates and the SJW destroyed videos and
Mm,
stuff that were going all around of, your Ben Shapiro types going to college campuses, just owning the libs, right? And then Charlie Kirk started to go back to college campuses, in the 2020, 2021, 2022, definitely throughout the Biden administration, he was really pushing hard for this kind of stuff. And, it bore fruit in the election of Donald Trump in the second time. But I feel like a lot of people kind of just outgrown that kind of content of engaging with college students kind of deal. It's like, oh, yeah, well, they're college students. They're dumb. Like, all right, are we really looking for just reaction videos at this point, or we actually want to do some stuff? But I actually went back and watched some of Charlie Kirk's debates with these college kids, and he is not like Ben Shapiro at all in these debates. I mean, number one, he's much more I mean, he's much more kind to people, number
mm,
one.
yeah.
He's not
He's
so like
very
snarky.
generous with it.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
very generous. Yeah.
yeah. He's not so snarky. He's not so fast talking. I mean, he's clearly very smart and intelligent. He gets his quips in there when he gets them. But Ben Shapiro just always seemed like an asshole, man. Every time, and maybe that's why people didn't resonate with him as well as they did with Charlie Kirk. But it is kind of hard to say that, or kind of sad to say, really, that I didn't really appreciate Charlie as much when he was alive as now that he's gone. And I think a lot of people feel the same way about that. And I think in my own soul searching the last week, uh, I think I'm just going to be a lot more lenient on a lot of people who aren't necessarily like at the position I want them to be at this point. I mean, a lot of people have already talked about this and pointed this out, how Charlie definitely over the last, 12 to 16 months was clearly moving in a further right direction on a number of issues, whether it relates to economics or immigration or Israel, whatever it may be. But everybody's got a path, man. And sometimes people take a little bit longer to get there than others. But
Mm.
I mean, at the end of the day, our enemies are over there. They're not necessarily, they're not on the right.
Well, your co-host, Pete Quinones, taught me this years ago, man. Talking with him about how to talk to people that don't understand politics. He's like, Tommy, you got to calm down, man. You got to meet people where they're at. And
Hmm.
Charlie Kirk seemed to have this innate ability to meet people where they're at. Like you'll see some of these people, they come up there to the microphone and they were like full throated, ready to attack him, and he would engage them, and he would combat them, but he always did it with kindness. But then you'd have some of these. There's this one video that like struck me last week. It just popped up on my timeline. I had never seen it before, and it was this girl. She was like 19 or 20 years old, and she was like, "Yeah, I've always felt like I was born in the wrong body ever since I was like in third grade, but it wasn't until I was in seventh grade that I decided to change my name and go by male pronouns." And he stopped everything right there and he goes, "Will you tell me your story?" And she goes through her entire story about how she felt, what was going on in her life, blah blah blah. And then at the end of it, he doesn't condemn her. He doesn't like, "Oh, like you're crazy" or anything like that. He goes, "You know what, man?" He goes, "I pray that one day you find the help you need so that you're happy in your body." And I was like, man, that's more grace than I have.
Mm,
Because I would have been laughing or telling this chick she's crazy or something like that. I know who I am. Everything to me is a joke for the most part. And so I would have been like this total asshole to this girl. And he just had that ability within himself to just take the time, try to understand. And even if he didn't understand, say, "Look, I just want what's best for you." And I was like, man, and you shot this guy? Like, that's the guy you shot? Like,
yeah.
really? That's the one you wanted to freaking put up on the mantle? Like, there are any number of right wingers I could think of that could have gotten shot that are a lot more hateful than this guy that most people wouldn't have even blinked an eye at.
Hmm. Yeah. Very, very true. Well, it's we're just in a totally different world now after this, I would say. I mean, just I just felt it just in the country as a whole, man. I had people who were calling me up who are not normally political, like at all, asking for answers, what the hell is this kind of deal? I don't know if
Mm.
you've seen this, but particularly a lot of women like really liked Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
For some reason. I mean, maybe it might just be as simple as the fact that he's 6'5", and a
He was
handsome
a
looking
he
dude.
was a very
But
tall dude.
yeah, he's a very tall guy. I mean, I would like to think it's not just it's not just that. No doubt it's a huge part of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it's kind
no,
of like
he
the
had
same
a like
thing.
he had
Yeah.
this gentleness about him, but it was also like masculine at the same time.
Hmm.
Like you could kind of see like the way he would engage. Like he was very confident in himself. He was very assertive, but at the same time he was gentle. He wasn't like overbearing like you would see like a Steven Crowder or a Ben Shapiro,
Hmm.
as you pointed out earlier.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, he's beloved by a lot of people for sure. And he'll definitely be very, very missed. I don't know what the structure of Turning Point is going to be like now that he's gone. I mean, it is
Well,
reassuring to see that.
Agatha took over, so.
Mhm. I mean, it is nice to see that there's been like a huge influx of people who want to join and start up chapters of Turning Point, which is really, really nice. I am worried about potential grounds for subversion through other like nefarious actors on the right to try and weasel into this organization. People could think of a couple names, I'm sure, about this kind of stuff, but
Mm.
I just worry about the knife in the back for something like this because it's obviously very clear that Turning Point is the strongest on the ground game that the right wing has with the youth in America who have continued to swing to the right. More so with young men, but even the young women actually, there was an increase to Trump. They still like majority vote for the left, but the margin decreased in the last election. So, yeah, there will definitely be vultures circling around this one for sure. So people got to watch out for that.
I mean, I kind of think I understand what they're doing because I've been kind of watching I've been watching the Charlie Kirk show this week and kind of paying attention. I think I have an idea of what they're going to do. I can't say for sure, honestly. But I think Jack Posobiec is going to have a really major role in the situation because he was engaged on the back end of everything Turning Point. And then there's his co-host on the Charlie Kirk show, who was also his like he was basically his assistant, I think. His name was Andrew something. And he's been very open about kind of the things that they were thinking about and talking about, brainstorming about behind the scenes. So I wouldn't be surprised if the same people that kind of like circled Charlie Kirk. I think it was mentioned that it was like four or five kind of solid people that Charlie Kirk kept in a small circle, and they're going to be kind of like the brains behind it. And I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing like instead of doing like one college at a time, you'll see like two or three colleges being done by Turning Point at a time. I know Andrew was saying the other day, yesterday, I think it was, Andrew had said, we were brainstorming 2 weeks ago, and Charlie Kirk is like, if we could just get 15,000 high schools, just 15,000 high schools to sign up and have Turning Point chapters. And today I heard that there have been 54,000 applications between high schools and colleges to start new chapters.
Wow.
So in depth, he he far surpassed what his actual goal was. It's kind of one of those things that like it says in the Bible, like what the evil one means for evil, God uses for good kind of
Hmm.
situation. It's like everything is being flipped around. This is why I said that in the chat the other day, even when Kyle wants to call me a boomer because he's a little cunt. Um, I mean that, with all due respect. I mean, I have respect for cunts, even Kyle. But um my whole point was like we have to be very like aware of the way we react to this. A lot of us are angry, a lot of us are upset. Even though we personally didn't know Charlie, I know people that knew Charlie that are very upset by this. And the fact that they're very upset by this makes me very upset because I like these people a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's like just for instance, and it's probably like I don't ideologically, I don't agree with this person like like 90% of the time, but Batya Ungar Sargon is one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my life. Like one of the sweet I don't like that she's upset. You know what I'm saying? It's that
Mm.
kind of situation. Like on a personal level, I don't want this person to be upset, you know? And so it's like there are things I disagree with her on, but it's like she's upset. So I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, why is she upset? Of all the people, like you upset, like, why her? You know, she's like one of the
Mm.
sweetest people in the world. And so it's that type of situation where all of us kind of feel that to some degree because we're only like one or two people removed from Charlie Kirk. Like
Yeah.
he's right there. You know,
Hmm.
he's running in circles that overlap our circles, you know? And so there is something about that that's very upsetting, you know? But at the same time, we got to stay within ourselves. We got to remember what happened in 2020 with the Black Lives Matter riots and what they did to their own movement and how they destroyed it by laundering money, burning down businesses, doing all these things. And we got to stay within ourselves and not like co-sign on any of this violence. And remember that the mainstream media made excuses for all the violence of Black Lives Matter. And we can't excuse it. We got to, if we see somebody like Patriot Front go out there and engage in violent protest because they're pissed off about Charlie Kirk, we got to say, well, Patriot Front are a bunch of fucking feds. They're not our guys. We don't claim those fuckers.
There definitely is a point to be made for many people who rightfully want revenge, and rightfully are have righteous anger at these people who have done this to not just Charlie, but for all of us in some degree or another over the last 10 years. And you can even go further if you want to talk about the broader left-wing coalition that has taken over all the institutions of this country. But
Right.
it is very important for people to understand that we are not the left. We are not, black anarchist groups, just walking around in masks, destroying all property and wanting for destruction, everything. Like the right, at its core, is the party of order. All right, and you know, we got to do things correct and we got to do things right. We don't just go wantedly walking around and lighting leftist businesses on fire and stuff like that. That's not who we are, man. And some people wish that we were like that because that actually shows like, well, at least the left actually goes out and does something. And I understand that thinking to an extent, but again, it's like we use precision, and I think that's the most important part about this is precision and discipline. One of the things that I think has been really, really effective in the last week is just all these campaigns to get all these lefties fired from all these positions. That is excellent work that a bunch of people are doing right now, and it's nonviolent, it's totally justified, and it works. And we got fucking Jimmy Kimmel fired today. You know.
Yeah, I know. We
Yeah.
all wanted to talk about that here in a bit because I wanted to cover that. And JD Vance on Jesse Waters had some stuff to say today. So we'll
Hmm.
get into that. That shit's fucking hilarious.
Hmm.
But keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, but no, like all these people totally deserve it, 100%. They've been doing this kind of shit to us for years, mostly because it works, sadly. And I get it, like it's not exactly the most manly thing for people to be doing, like this tattletale kind of shit, by ratting people out to their businesses and stuff like that. But I mean, you just got to use the tools that are at your disposal, dude. And you can make your arguments about free speech or whatever, and okay, fine. But at the end of the day, like. the Constitution and whatever is only designed for an actual moral people. I mean, the founders literally said this themselves.
Mm,
And we're obviously not a moral people if half of our country is just openly dancing on the grave of what, by all means, from everyone who ever interacted with him to everyone who was actually his friend to even his enemies who debated him. Like, this guy was a good guy, dude, and he did
yeah,
not deserve to get his neck half blown off while his wife and children were sitting there watching, dude. Like, there's no way you can justify this in any way, shape, or form. And half of the country is openly trying to do it. And I'm sorry, we cannot live this way. We cannot. I don't want to
mm,
share a country with evil people like this. It's not good for our society to have such vast swaths of people who are just openly okay with such barbarism. It's just not.
yeah. No, you're right. I know that I was looking at the whole situation and I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, Charlie Kirk had such influence with the younger kids and a lot of them were men, right? A lot of them were males and young
Hmm.
men, 20, 21, 22. My son, 21 years old, loved Charlie Kirk. It was one of the
Hmm.
only political figures other than my podcast, one of the only political figures that my son paid attention to was Charlie Kirk. And I was texting with him the day that it happened. And he was like, man, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. He got off work. He's working as an electrician's assistant. He got off work. And he was like, I saw it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the fuck? You know, I'm going to go on
Hmm.
TikTok tonight and look for Charlie Kirk clips. And then I find out that Charlie Kirk got freaking shot. And these are the exact people that could be the most barbarous of all of us. Because you know as well as I do that when you're a young man, like between the age of like, I don't know, 17 and probably 31, 32, that's when you're at your peak of violent thought. like like that's
Yeah.
when you want to engage, that 15-year period. And these are the kids that Charlie Kirk was bringing over. And these kids could very well turn and freaking go haywire if they don't have some level-headed commentary commentary out there saying, "Hey, look, dude, I know how you feel. We've all been there. I'm a 46-year-old man. I've been there. I was there a couple of days ago. I just can't do it every day like you can. Like I've been there. Like we all need to freaking like turn to the nature of our better angels and kind of grip onto the cross and beg God for some grace here because we're all about to lose it at some point in time. And so we got to keep these kids pointed in the right direction because they may not have a father at home. That was my main concern
Hmm.
was like I was like thinking like what if like how many of these kids, these 22, 23, 24-year-old men have come to Charlie Kirk without a dad and they look at him as a mentor, as a
Hmm.
man to live up to the value of because their
Yeah.
dad was never around. Like those kids could lose their fucking minds,
Yeah,
you know?
it's very true. I mean, in a way, Charlie Kirk was kind of like the platonic form of a, young Trump supporter, basically. I mean, he's literally been around since the very beginning. I couldn't believe
Right.
it. People were digging up tweets from t as early as 2011 of Charlie Kirk saying Donald Trump is a leader of America and should be president of the United States. It's like, holy shit, dude. He was on it from day one, man. So a lot of these young guys, it's entirely possible to assume that their whole political awakening. A lot of us have had many figures. Some people could point to Pat Buchanan, some people could point to Ron Paul, some people could point to, Ben Shapiro, oddly enough. But I think for a lot of the young guys, Charlie Kirk probably was that guy that
Mm,
first ignited an interest in them in the political process, and they watched him get murked in one of the worst ways possible. I mean, it was like the most violent assassination since JFK. You know,
yeah. Yeah.
uh,
He's,
it's,
I,
it's a
I
big
didn't
deal.
see it. I don't want to see it. I have no desire to see it. I don't think it's good for
Mm,
people to see that. Like, I don't think it's good. I think it's
mm,
bad for you. And I happened to be fishing that day. So
Hmm.
I was driving home and I stopped at Market Basket, a grocery store, and I looked at my phone and I'm scrolling and I see Glenn Beck with a video that says pray for Charlie. I was like, what the fuck is Glenn Beck talking about? And I scroll like two videos down, and it was Megyn Kelly live streaming, breaking Charlie Kirk has been shot. It's like, what? And I freaking
Hmm.
clicked on that and I listened to that entire live stream while Megyn
Hmm.
Kelly was finding out the news in real time, live on the air. And she was friends with Charlie and she was like in tatters, and I
Hmm.
was like, I felt so terrible for her. And then I started thinking about, the people I knew that knew Charlie. And then it's like, how many kids looked up to this guy? And then you turn around on Thursday and the entire freaking world is like cheering for Charlie Kirk. And you're like, holy crap, what just
Hmm.
happened? They're
Yeah.
having demonstrations in South Korea, in Europe, and I mean, I think Tommy Robinson, as a tribute to Charlie Kirk over the weekend, had 1 million people in England like
Hmm.
show up. Yeah, you're like, I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I look on Twitter because I very rarely, you know me, I don't get on Twitter very much. And
Yeah.
I look on Twitter just to see what's going on. I follow a lot of UFC fighters because that's my sport. I don't watch football, I don't watch
Hmm.
basketball, I don't watch baseball. I watch UFC. Every single fighter is like Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk, Charlie. I mean, it's like, holy shit, the transcendence of what happened in that moment. I was just blown away. I was like, I can't believe what I'm seeing here.
Yeah. Definitely was a wake-up call for a lot of us who, I guess spend a lot of time in these political spheres. I think a lot of us just underestimate quite a bit about where the culture is and where the normies are at this point in time. And I think a lot of us, like we were talking about earlier, just kind of put Charlie in that box. It's just like, oh, not based enough, but I'm not going to counter signal. He's just doing his own thing. I wish he'd come a little bit more to my side, but not paying attention too much to him. But
Mm,
I think looking back, in the years to come, he will definitely be remembered as a seminal figure on the right in this era for sure. And there's been some conversations about, well, how are we going to honor Charlie? There's been some suggestions about naming some pieces of legislation after him, which I think is a start. But the best idea I've heard is Donald Trump should rename a national park in Charlie Kirk's honor. Like, what better way to really cement him into something that he loved so much, which was America, the country, the place.
yeah.
What better way to do that than to, make him a permanent fixture of the United States, you know?
I did hear somebody say, and it was kind of a troll, and I thought it was funny. And they were saying, open up the Charlie Kirk debate house at Harvard.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be
Uh,
hilarious,
yeah.
But no, I'm with you. And then, I mean, the fact that, so I don't think the Democrats understand how different this is.
Mm,
Like then because they keep saying both sides or there's political violence from both sides. And all right, yeah, there's some freaking wacky right wingers that do some stupid shit, and all of us, like I know you, me, Pete, all of us, no matter how far right we are, we look at them, we go, what the fuck is this moron doing? Like,
hmm.
what do you expect to accomplish by attacking Paul Pelosi with a hammer, you fucking moron. Like, what is wrong with you?
Hmm.
Like, it's like these whack jobs like out there, but the left can't say that. The Democrats can't say that about this kid. His freaking boyfriend transitioning to a girl was a Biden supporter. This is like mainstream freaking Democrat that we're dealing with here. Like Destiny is defending the whole situation. And then you're like, okay, you get JD Vance going on Jesse Waters tonight, and y'all keep saying both sides. You don't understand. One of my best friends, the vice president of the United States, best friends was murdered by one of your activists. That is not a both sides thing. Never has that ever happened. Never in the history of like, well, at least the recent history of politics has that happened. Barack Obama's best friend did not get shot. Joe Biden's best friend did not get shot. Like the friend of the president and the vice president got shot. Like this
Hmm.
is not the same as some random like yokel that worked for Tim Walz in Minnesota going and killing two state senators. As bad as that was, and I was totally
Hmm.
against that. Like, what is that dude doing? I don't even know. I didn't even really pay attention to the story because it was so whacked out. I was
Well, it's another
like you got
example
this
again.
guy saying I'm killing people for Tim, like for I'm trying to kill Amy Klobuchar because Tim Walz wants me to, and I'm like, well, I doubt that's real. Like I think this guy's delusional psychopath. Like he's doing some wild ass shit over there. I don't know what this has to do with anything. But then they're like, well, that's violence from the right, and we're like, what? Like how's that our guy?
You
Like,
just know, again, like it's just like the example all the time, right? It's like, well, as soon as they discover that, a school shooter is a troon, or the person in a mass shooting is some kind of leftist activist or
dude,
something,
the last
they immediately just
tranny
get rid of the story, and it's the same thing with
the
this Tim Walz
tranny that shot
stuff.
up the tranny that shot up the mass.
Hmm.
Like the
Yeah.
story is now, it's a transgender Nazi.
Yes.
What the fuck are you talking about? The trannies are yours,
Hmm.
man. They're not ours. We don't want them.
Yeah.
Like we've
Yeah.
never claimed
Yeah.
them.
It's
Never once have any of us ever claimed a tranny.
Yeah, and it's kind of like this, and it's the same thing with this like Tim Walz staffer guy who went and shot a bunch of people. They're saying like, oh, he was a right winger. It's like, dude, this story was shoved so deep into the news cycle within 5 minutes. That should just immediately tell you like the actual
Right.
affiliations this guy had.
Yeah.
It's like the media couldn't get away fast enough to not talk about this guy. And it's the same thing with all of these stories, man. It's like they all know you can't fool people, dude. People know that the majority of all the political violence and everything in this country comes from the left. And it doesn't matter how many ADL statistics you throw out there that claim that the black guy who shot up a local store because he called the Indian guy a racial slur is some kind of right-wing, extremist terrorism, which is literally like on the front page of like what the ADL's list of right-wing extremists was. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
The illegal Mexican that decapitated the the Hindu freaking hotel manager in Dallas a couple of weeks ago is right wing. That's freaking political violence. That's right winger. It's like, come on, man. Like these
Hmm.
aren't our people. These aren't our people. Like,
Hmm.
yes, okay, so freaking the dude that shot Charlie Kirk was a groiper because as soon as as Nick Fuentes sucked Destiny's cock, all the groipers became trans furries. Like what? What are you trying
Hmm.
to like convince me of? You're telling me a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is this story also doesn't help because every single person who's a left-wing activist is like openly dancing on Charlie Kirk's grave using their own names. Like they're not even like
Yeah.
anons on like Twitter or anything. It's just I'm posting this under my LinkedIn account that I use to show that I work at the Cleveland Clinic Hospital. It's just
Yeah.
my God, you guys, the chutzpah on these people. They just
Yeah.
haven't been in this position at all for over a decade of having to hide any of their opinions because all the institutions were at their back. I saw a hilarious tweet about this where a guy was comparing this to Indians with smallpox blankets because they just have no immunity for this kind of canceling from the right because they haven't had to. You know?
So, all right. So one of the things y'all are really good at the Old Glory Club is kind of pinpointing the political trajectory. And here in the last, we got about 30 minutes left or something. I don't want to keep you too late, but one of so I want you to kind of dive into what you see as the political trajectory. What's the backlash? What do we got to look forward to? Because at this moment, I kind of think kind of like when Trump got shot. This is a potential like win for the Republicans in the midterms because of this. Like I've heard people are leaving the Democrat Party, joining the Republican Party because so many people that are engaged in the Democrat Party are actually celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, now that we've had kind of like a week to kind of let cooler heads prevail and
Mm.
let the smoke clear a little bit of the situation, I think what is clear, you know, looking from the blast zone of this, is that the actual base of the right wing has not only number one expanded into new places, but has actually radicalized in a significant way. And once again, which is very, very common with people who are on the right looking to their leaders and to their politicians are just sitting there with their thumbs up their asses, just basically literally doing nothing. Um, I have a praise for a few people in the Trump administration for the last week. JD Vance, chief among them. I think he's been excellent. His messaging has been perfect. This last week, he's done a really, really good job. Stephen Miller is another one whose messaging has been totally on point. But so many other people in the administration, Kash Patel's been bad. Trump has been, meh. I mean, I know there's that one clip of people are sharing when Trump is being cornered by the news media for the 15th time in the last like 24 hours. And the one time he responds to a Charlie Kirk question, he's talking about the expansion to the ballroom. So, I mean, like, listen, I get it. It's a bad response from Trump. I get it that he's bound to screw up, with one of these moments and get it plastered all over the place because, when
And
literally
how
whenever the
many,
guy opens his mouth, you
what kind of,
know,
I mean, like the subject matter that this man has to deal with on a daily basis. And then one of his close friends gets shot.
mhm,
Like it's like, I remember when my buddy died. Like when he was my best friend, I'd known him for 19 years. I was driving over the road, and whenever I found out he died, I was like, I could barely do my job and get to the funeral, you know, like
mhm,
in any capacity, let alone have the literal weight of the world on my shoulders,
mhm,
trying to negotiate peace and this, that, and there. I mean, I give Trump like a B, B plus, and that's like, yes, there's some grace there, but it's because I understand what it's like to lose somebody that's close to you. And then
mhm.
all the shit he's got to deal with on top of it. He can't stop being the president to
Yeah, I mean,
grieve.
he's literally in the UK today, making,
Right, exactly,
visiting
exactly.
other countries. It's like,
And then
yeah, we got
and
to
then
get,
this coming Sunday is when the memorial and the funeral for Charlie
yeah,
is.
yeah, in Arizona. Yeah, I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
that'll be interesting to see what Trump has to say at that one. I mean, from his initial reports on like the Fox and Friends interview he gave the next day, I thought his messaging was perfect. That was very, very on point.
Mm.
I mean, he kind of slipped up with that comment about the ballroom, which again, much like you, I give him some grace for that because it's like, listen, every word that comes out of the guy's mouth is recorded in some way or another. I don't think this is indicative of him, thinking like, God forbid, they're like, oh, I'm making very light of my friend's death. It's like, shut up, guys. All right. Like every time this guy opens his mouth, he's got a camera in front of him. All right. I'll give him some grace for that.
You know what
But the
surprised me the
people who,
most?
mm-hmm,
I'm sorry. It just like it just clicked with me. What has surprised me the most is he hasn't cut down his availability to the press over the last week.
yeah, there's
And
definitely
that
that.
probably would have given him a little bit of slack. Maybe the left would have started saying he was dead again or something, but it would have given him a little bit of slack to kind of like gather his emotions and kind of deal with things. But he didn't do that at all.
God, just look at the comparison again. I mean, between him and Biden. I mean, Biden would
Yeah,
be gone for
yeah,
months, and
yeah.
nobody
That's
would.
exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, know. Um, however, there are people in the administration who I will not give any slack to. Kash Patel, as far as I'm concerned, has done horrible throughout this whole thing. I mean, people are giving him some credit because he got dragged in front of one of these like faking gay House committee hearings and was just yelling over Adam Schiff because Adam Schiff is a retard. Which I mean, fine, cool. But as he's been handling this investigation, the actual day of was holy shit, dude. What is this? Like amateur hour? I mean, oh, we have a
He sounded like a total fucking retard
yeah, it's like,
whenever
oh,
they
we've got a
arrested the
guy.
kid. We
We've got
got
a
him.
guy
He
in
was like, this is
custody.
good police work. No, dude, that was parents being good fucking Americans. Like,
Yeah.
cause like, how hard is it to turn over your own kid? Like, let's
Hmm.
give those parents some credit, you know,
Yeah.
don't fucking, oh, this is good police work. Why don't you freaking like, go give that dad a hug,
Yeah, I mean,
because fuck,
this isn't
dude.
like, yeah, I mean, it's not like, oh, your kid, what, went and robbed like a 7-Eleven of $300 and you're gonna go turn him in, right? It's like, no, like you are sending your kid to certain death when you
Yeah.
turn him in here. This kid is getting executed. There's no
Yeah.
way he's not. The political climate isn't gonna allow for it any other way. Utah is one of the few states that actually is very liberal on its state-sponsored executions and things like this. So th this kid is getting put to death. There's no way around it. And so you just know that, oh, I'm gonna surrender my own son to the state, and he's gonna be
Mhm.
locked in a cage for the rest of his life until they take him out back and shoot him. I mean, like, fuck, dude. I mean, yeah, I get it. He
Yeah.
did some really evil shit, and I understand that, but at the same time, that's very difficult to do for any parent, I imagine. So,
But
I mean,
he's my son's age, right? Like my
yeah.
kids are between 20 and 27, all five of them. Like he's
Hmm.
my kid's age. Like,
Hmm.
and I'm looking at it going, he had a 4.0 GPA in high school, got a full scholarship to the University of Utah. And it's like, man, what did we lose?
Hmm.
What did we lose because this guy was radicalized by these fucking psychopaths?
Yeah. Or and the other thing too is imagine all the second thoughts you are literally going to have for the rest of your life as a family. Your family is irrevocably destroyed. It's like, what did we do wrong? How did we, bring about this situation? How did we lose our son to
Yeah.
this evil? I
Yeah.
mean, I can't imagine what that's going to be going through for those people. But back to the Cash Patel thing. So it's like, yeah, the father turned the son in. The day of the actual shooting, the FBI's Twitter account was like it was run by some like fucking schizophrenic on Twitter. It's like, oh, we have a guy in custody. Oh, now we don't have a guy in custody. Oh, we have a
Yep.
third guy in custody. Oh no, we let him go after questioning. It's like, dude, what the fuck is going on? It's like the Epstein file shit again. It's like, just close your fucking mouths, dude. Holy shit. Who is running this? Like, who's in charge
Right.
here, dude? It's like fucking Looney Tunes, man.
Hmm.
So that was bad. And then it was even worse at the press conference when Cash Patel decides to open his brown Indian mouth and says that, oh, I'd look forward to seeing you in Valhalla, Charlie Kirk. It's like, dude, one of the most outspoken Christians of our time. It's like, really, you couldn't have chosen your words a little bit more carefully there, bud.
That was pretty
So
cringe. That was
yeah.
cringe as fuck. I was like,
Uh,
some people are defending him, and I'm like, okay, I see why you're defending him, but still, I understand him and Charlie were friends, but that was a cringe line. You could have thought
yeah.
of something better to say,
Yeah.
like
So,
just like I don't know, man.
I mean, and the only
Like
saving
go give his
grace.
wife a hug in private. Don't
Mhm.
air that shit out there because you're not that good of a speaker,
No.
And so like I don't know. Yeah, that was cringe as shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, and already a FBI that has gone under some, not only just some severe scrutiny when Trump was away from the office under the Biden administration, but they're already like treading on thin ice right now because of this whole Epstein stuff. Which, despite what the media says, like a bunch of the base are not going to forget this stuff. And Cash Patel is definitely one of the chief guys who's been saying some really stupid stuff on that front too. Do you remember like the week before the shooting? Everyone forgot this, but Speaker Johnson and Kash Patel tried to say that Trump was an informant for the FBI for the Epstein
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, it's what? What the hell is this shit?
Well, you know what drives me crazy. You know what drives me the craziest about the whole Epstein thing is they keep saying, like Kash Patel yesterday, he had that whole Senate hearing yesterday, and I watched, I don't know, 3 hours of it. It was 4.5 hours long, and I watched like 3 hours of it. And like he would say, well, Ghislaine Maxwell was trafficking children to Jeffrey Epstein for Jeffrey Epstein's use. Okay, fine. Now explain Jean-Luc Brunel because the French arrested Jean-Luc Brunel at the airport and locked him in prison for in affiliation with a case that was brought up in France against Epstein. So apparently, there is evidence that some other people were involved in this whole Epstein situation. And conspicuously, Jean Luc Brunel died in prison in a very similar manner to Jeffrey Epstein. So please explain what happened there. But none of the journalists ever bring up Jean Luc Brunel. They're like, oh no, it was Jeffrey Epstein and he's dead. And it was not, there was none of this and none. Explain Jean Luc Brunel to me. Just explain to me what was going on there. Like, or what's his name? Oh shit, I can't think of the guy's name. The guy who paid the Virgin Islands $50 million to not prosecute him in affiliation with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, that's a thing, dude. That happened. Tell us what that's about,
Hmm. Nah.
And I think, honestly, I think what they're hiding is not the child sex trafficking. I think they are hiding money laundering on behalf of the CIA. That's what I think
Yeah.
they're hiding.
Yeah.
Like the whole BCCI case. I think it's something similar to that.
I that seems more directionally correct to me than a lot of the satanic pedophile stuff, which no doubt definitely occurs with some members of our elites, like
I
the
mean, yeah, you
fucking
can look at the Franklin
Podestas and
scandal.
other
You'll find
characters.
plenty of that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, no doubt this kind of stuff occurs with some very, very sick people, but yeah, so they fumbled this stuff. The only thing that's really saved
Sorry,
Cash
I
Patel over the
will.
last
You
week.
bring up
Yeah, yeah.
Epstein, and I'm going to go
Yeah,
off on a rant.
we're
Like,
going off on it. Yeah. No, I mean, but it is a big deal. But the only thing that really saved Cash Patel this week is the person standing right next to him to their right, Pam Bondi, decided to keep jumping on a rake and having it smack her in the face time and time.
they need to
Again, with
fire
this,
that chick.
she is
She
so
is
bad. She's
terrible,
so bad.
dude. I mean, you
Absolutely
saw I said it in
terrible.
the chat. She is the right's Hillary Clinton. She
Yeah,
is terrible.
she's
Anytime
horrible
she
at
opens her
this.
mouth, I cringe.
Her rhetoric is awful. The only good thing about her is that she's cute. That's literally it.
For a
But,
70-year-old.
yeah, exactly. The thing is, man, it's like, especially when it really became stark over the last 2 days, because not only was she putting her foot in her mouth with this retarded nonsense about, just conceding to the left on every talking point about hate speech, which the right has been fighting for over a decade at this point, that no, this is
Mhm.
not what we're about. We're not
And the
ceding the
right's
left's
killing her.
language. Yeah, and as they should be, as they totally
Yeah.
should be. All right,
Tucker's killing her. Megan
yeah,
Kelly's killing her. They're all killing her.
this is
They're
just
all going after her.
this is just unacceptable, man. I mean, like, listen, dude, people. We've been in this whole scene since Trump came down the escalator for a decade at this point, okay? It should be literally the bare minimum. If you're working in the administration, you should understand these dialectical traps that the left is going to set for you and not
Mm,
fall into them. How is it
yes.
that you and I here and countless other people on the online right and the whole podcast sphere understand this game and the fucking people working in the administration don't, dude? It's such a clown show, man. It's unbelievable. And then what makes it even worse is looking over the past 2 days, seeing the guy that we should have gotten for the position and quite frankly should have been in there, Matt Gaetz, is just posting bomb after bomb after bomb on Twitter nonstop. And it's like, dude, we could have had this fucking guy. He
Yeah.
could have been in that position. And
He
you
should
know
have been.
what?
Well,
I
and that's the
guarantee you
exact
he would have
reason
done a
he's
better
not
job.
there, though. That's the
Yeah.
exact reason he's not there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So Pam Bondi needs to be fucking fired, dude. She's done absolutely nothing correct this entire time. She's been fumbling case after case with this administration. And this thing about the hate speech stuff. Not only did she, make a retarded statement, but then she doubled down on it once, and then she doubled down on it a third time. And I'm like, get rid of this bitch. She needs to go.
And if I were Trump, like, because even the left is saying fire Pam Bondi. And if I were Trump, what I would do is I would fire Pam Bondi and I would nominate Matt Gaetz again.
Yeah, please do.
I
I
would
mean, they
just
literally
I would
just
just
got rid
keep
of
going
the
back that
they
way.
just got rid of the Senate confirmation thing. So he could literally appoint anyone he wants to right now. That's the only thing they did in this
Wait,
last week.
they did what? They did what? Like you're gonna have
So
to explain this because I might have missed this one.
yeah, so do you know how the original time that they were getting the Matt Gaetz thing in, they weren't going to get him past all of the Republican senators because they weren't
Right,
going to
right, right,
vote
right,
for
right, right,
him?
right.
Well, the only thing they did in this last week was get rid of the stipulation that all of Trump's appointees have to be voted on by the Senate. They actually got rid of that last week. So Trump could
That
literally
and is that
nominate
because they were
anyone.
dragging their ass on it? Like what was that about?
Well, I guess it was in response to the whole Charlie Kirk thing. It was like literally the only thing that they've actually done is,
So he
you
could
know,
literally just
he
fire
can,
Pam
yeah,
Bondi tomorrow and
he could fire her and
just
appoint literally
appoint Matt
anybody he
Gates.
wants. Yeah, he
Holy
could
shit.
appoint anyone right now,
So
anyone.
why are we fucking doing this, Donald?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
It's just
well, I
it.
guess because he's in
Yeah,
England, he's not doing anything.
yeah. I mean, but yeah, she's just so bad. I mean, I had to laugh because
Could
even
you
Stephen Miller.
imagine? Could you imagine the head explosion if that happened?
Ugh, it would be wonderful.
It
I
would
had to
be
laugh because even
hilarious,
fucking Stephen Miller had to quote tweet Pam Bondi on Twitter basically to say "shut the fuck up."
right? Well,
It was really
Stephen
funny.
Miller's a freaking dude. My okay, so my favorite appointments, and I'm not talking JD Vance. I love JD Vance. I'm not
Hmm.
discounting him, but my favorite appointments by Donald Trump have been Stephen Miller and Scott Bessent. I
Yeah.
love those two dudes. Like, if they say it, I'm co signing on it. I'm all about it. I'm like, I don't care if it makes
Yeah.
sense. I like these guys. They're my dudes. Like, I
S-
don't give a shit.
Stephen Miller, Stephen Miller's great. I mean, for a number of reasons. I mean, the first off, which I think is just so hilarious that that man is single-handedly doing more to combat anti-Semitism than the ADL, SPLC,
Yeah.
all these fucking ridiculous organizations, Holocaust Memorial Museum, all these clowns. Stephen Miller is single-handedly defeating anti-Semitism more than you. And the other
Yeah.
thing too is just I love his like T-1000 dedication to just deporting as many people as possible. He doesn't
Mm,
talk about October 7th. Aside from this Charlie Kirk stuff, he's basically only opened his mouth when it's to talk about immigration. That's
yeah.
literally it. It's just
Yeah.
every time he goes on TV, anytime a journalist asks him questions, he's like, "No, we're going to deport more people. We're going to deport more people." That's
If you
all
don't
he's
quit
on
asking me
about.
questions, I'm going to deport you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
no, like Stephen Miller and Scott Bessent are my two favorite Trump appointees. I love them, both of them,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
they make like CNN, MSNBC media look stupid as fuck when they get
Mhm.
in there and they start tying it up. It's just so good. It's just like y'all look like idiots. You know,
Mhm.
um,
For sure. So, I mean, I guess aside from that, I mean, if I was to grade other people in the last week, another person who gets an absolute A plus as far as I'm concerned, even though he's not in the administration, is Sam Hyde. Sam Hyde gets absolutely A plus marks all across the board, man. His
Yeah,
video that he put out over the
that
weekend was
that
amazing.
episode you shared was really good, actually.
Yeah.
I'd heard of him. I had never heard him. I didn't even know who he was. I'd heard of him, and so I was
Mm-hmm.
like, and then you shared that, and I was like, well, I guess I'll listen to it. If Red Hawk's sharing it, I'll listen to it, see what's going on, because blah blah blah. But
Hmm.
I had just heard of the guy. I had heard of the guy because he made some comment a while back about. Um, Hassan Piker or something like that. I don't know if they have some
Yeah.
sort of
There's
beef.
there's a lot
I
of
don't
deep lore between the two of them.
okay, yeah. And see,
Yeah.
somebody I had heard somebody mention it a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, all right, I don't know what this is. Like,
Hmm.
okay,
So
fine.
it's particularly famous. No doubt you've seen a lot of Sam Hyde's like memes, for sure. Like if you've seen his face, even if people have never listened to Sam Hyde, you've definitely seen one of the memes of Sam Hyde
Yeah,
go
one of the
around. But
black and white memes.
yeah. There's one of those. But there's this other hilarious one of him in a boxing ring because he was one of the YouTube like celebs who kind of first did one of those like celebrity boxing things. This was a couple of years ago, and after he won his boxing fight, the announcer like runs over to him. He's like, "Okay, what's your reaction?" And Sam Hyde just goes into this like joke routine where he's talking about how he's gonna go kill Hassan Piker, just screaming at the top of his
So
lungs.
is he like a comedian, like a Sam Tripoli
Yeah,
kind of guy?
kind of. So if you're familiar with the Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, like the older, like
Yeah.
the late
Yeah,
night
yeah, yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
So he had a TV show on Adult Swim. It was called $1 Million Extreme, and this was back maybe in the late 2000s, early 2010s. I forget the actual day.
Okay, so it
They
was
had
when
like
I
a
stopped watching Adult Swim, but yeah, okay.
yeah, so it was kind of like a sketch comedy kind of show, and they had like maybe one or two seasons. It got canceled. They did a bunch of stuff online, but he's been in right-wing spheres for a very long time and
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I'd heard his
does his own
name.
thing.
I didn't
But
really
he's
know.
he's on
I actually thought it was kind of like one of those
our side. A video from over the weekend. He did this great video addressing Elon Musk during the great H-1B war from December. If you'll remember that when Vivek and Elon were talking about we need more legal immigrants. Sam Hyde did another one of these videos addressing that. Basically, he's like, no, no, we don't need more talent. America has all the people we could possibly need right here, and we're here to fight for the spirit of what it is to be an American people. So I like Sam Hyde a lot. He's got his finger on the pulse. Really, really good dude and
okay.
hilarious at the same time. So
Gotcha. Yeah, no,
yeah,
I'd heard, like I said, I heard his name brought up, and I just kind of thought it was like one of these like meme names, like people were using it as an example of like the perfect American or something. I didn't actually know it
mm,
was a real person. And then you shared that
yeah.
video, and I was like, well, and then I heard about him and Hassan Piker, and I was like, okay, well, that's kind of funny. And then you shared that video, and I was like, oh, okay, well, let me check it out because I hear people say it, you know. And so I didn't even really know it
I
was a
get,
real person. I thought it was
I
just kind
guess
of like
some
one of these like meme kind of ideas that were out there in the ether.
Yeah, well, I mean, he has been memed many, many a time. I think the most famous one that people might be aware of is this was either like 2022 or something. It was during the Ukraine war, and one of the guys who got elected the same time Biden got elected, one of these senators, who's with this huge Ukraine shill, basically got caught sharing a obviously fake story where somebody had photoshopped Sam Hyde as a pilot in like a Russian MiG or something, and the caption of the fake article was Ukrainian pilot Ghost of Kiev Samuel Hydenko shoots down like 2,000 Russian MiGs or something, and then you had one of these clowns, these ass clowns, like Democrat senators on CNN praising the Ghost of Kiev Samuel Hydenko, and it was a completely fake fucking story. It was just a
That's where that
Photoshop
came
picture.
from. I
Yes,
remember
yes, that's
hearing about
him.
the ghost of
Yes.
Kiev, but
Yes, yeah, that was a total fake story, Photoshop picture of Sam Hyde.
and when
Yeah.
the like there was a video of it, but wasn't it taken out of a video game or something like that?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it was totally fake. Yeah. So, yeah, so that's the kind of stuff that
That's
Sam Hyde gets up
hilarious.
to. Yeah,
That's
he's a master
hilarious.
troll. Yeah.
So
So,
what do you think so what's the trajectory of like the old Glory Club from here on? No,
I mean,
like understanding because y'all's numbers you said I think you told me the other day that y'all's numbers have been increasing since the Charlie Kirk shooting.
yeah, we
And
definitely got a huge bump of people looking to start chapters and join
I mean,
existing
and then you
ones.
have like the one of the next presidents of the United States coming on your channel, Othman on X.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, dude, I put it in the
Yeah.
comments. I'm voting for that dude. Like, run for
Yeah.
president, brother. You got my vote. Like,
Yeah, he was going off, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's we're just gonna keep doing what we're doing, man. It's just all about building locally, getting people to, associate in real life, hook up with other guys, and um, hopefully we have a network established for people to use in the future, whether that's for local politics or just for get people employed, get people families, get people good neighbors. That's what we're gonna keep doing, man. And hopefully more people get interested in it. Hopefully more people get involved. If anyone has a spur and a call to action after this Charlie Kirk assassination, which it seems like a lot of people have, whether it's joining Turning Point stuff, whether it's joining the Republicans, whether it's going to church, whether it's joining the OGC, whatever it is, man. Like just, you know, keep that with you. Don't let this man die in vain. I mean, we are going to win. That much I'm certain. You're asking me about the future. I mean, we are going to win. That
We're
much
gonna
I
win. Yeah.
guarantee. How long it's going to take, who knows? What path it's going to take, God only knows on top of that as well. But I am convinced that we are going to win. In such an odd time when we've seen such absolute horrors in the last week. I also, I in a strange way I found hope, in all this.
Mm.
Seeing everyone's response to everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not blackpilled. I refuse to
Yeah,
be blackpilled.
I think it exposed um that there are a lot more people on our side than we probably thought there were.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
like we understood it was like we understood it as like a 50-50 country, and then Charlie Kirk gets assassinated and we look up and it looks like it's more of a 70-30 country at the moment.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I do hope is that just these Republicans just get their heads out of their ass, man. Just understand what time it is. Like, fuck your shilling for Israel. Fuck your, both sides nonsense. Fuck your trying to stay in the good graces of the media, man. It's like, dude, just understand where the base is and understand what you have basically a golden opportunity right now to actually do some serious damage to the left. I mean, listen, we're clearly the culture is clearly moving in our direction. I mean, people seeing, you know, in a strange way, it's kind of I think the actual reaction and the fallout from people watching everyone dancing on Charlie's grave has been worse than actually seeing him get shot. I think people waking up to the fact that almost everybody in the school system, a severe overrepresentation of doctors and nurses and other government workers of some kind, are just openly cheering on the assassination of this guy. I mean,
Yeah.
who was by all means everyone knew was
Pilots,
just
professors,
yeah,
teachers. I mean,
yeah, yeah. It's
it's
like
insane.
yeah, this isn't just, the stereotype of like these blue-haired, college kids, right, who believe this kind of shit. It's like no, like it's literally doctors, surgeons. There was fucking Secret Service agents, dude, who got fired and were posting
Yep.
about this stuff. It's
I saw some
ugh.
Marines got discharged, and yeah, I saw all kinds of shit.
Yeah. I think that was way more radicalizing for people than the actual death itself because they realized, wow, there are demons, they exist, and they are literally everywhere. And uh, so I think the cultural shift definitely in our direction. Really nice to see the 10,000 plus people who've gotten fired in the last week or whatever the number is. It can only go up as far as I'm concerned. That's a step in the right direction. But the Trump team really needs to make headway out of this one. Stephen Miller and Vance's messaging has been great. It appears that the people who are actually going to be in charge of doing this are just not up for the task. So get rid of these people and put people in charge who are. I mean, Pam Bondi's got to go, man. Absolutely. This is
Yeah.
just unacceptable.
You know, one of the biggest white pills is have you ever watched that show Two Way with Mark Halperin, Sean Spicer, and Dan Turrentine?
No, I have not.
So basically, what it is like in the mornings, if you work in a newsroom in the morning, you all get together in the morning and you talk about the stories of the day and you discuss how you're going to how those stories are going to be written about or discussed for the day. And Mark Halperin was like the chief political analyst for um, a news source, and him and Sean Spicer decided like let's start a podcast based around the way that news agencies operate in the morning, and they call it like the morning meetup or something like that. And and so you got Mark Halpern, who's like an independent kind of like on fence sitter. Sean Spicer, obviously, you know who that is. He was
Hmm.
he's definitely a Republican. Dan Turrentine, who's like a mainstream Democrat.
Hmm.
And so they kind of go through these news stories and they give all the different perspectives of these news stories. And then like they do it for like 30 minutes. They'll go through all the news stories of the day. In the last 30 minutes, they allow listeners to chime in and raise their hand on like their Zoom call or whatever and come in and ask questions and discuss news stories that they think are important or from the perspective of average people. And ever since the death of Charlie Kirk, like Dan Turrentine, the Democrat representative, cannot get any freaking like leverage in there.
Hmm.
Everybody is dumping on the left, dumping on the Democrats. The way they've handled this, the Charlie Kirk assassination has been terrible, blah, 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 blah. And you watch that, and it's like this huge white pill because it's not this bias. It's not like our podcast, right? It's not this biased, one sided podcast where we're attacking like these stories from one direction. Like they're attacking the stories from every single direction, and all their listeners are attacking the stories from the side of the right ever since Charlie Kirk got assassinated.
Hmm. No. Um, I'm sure a lot of people in the country have similar experiences to that, I would say, because this attempt of them trying to say like this is a both sidesism or something like that is just no, I don't think nobody's buying it, man. I mean, nobody is. I mean, how can you, right? When you're seeing just everybody dance on the grave, you can't get away with this stuff. This just blatant level of lying. Just no way, man. Uh-uh.
To quote JD Vance, cut that shit out.
Yeah.
Like I was like, dude, he went off on that Jesse Watters. I only saw like maybe like 3 minutes of that entire interview, but he was
Hmm.
going off. Like that was like Charlie Kirk was like his one of his best friends. They were very close. And
Hmm.
I know if my best friend, let's say like my buddy that died when like 14 years ago, if he had died, gotten shot, gotten assassinated because of our politics, I would have been freaking murderous.
Oh yeah.
Like,
No,
the
for
fact
sure,
that
dude.
he's able to get in front of the world and have a conversation and actually like have a coherent thought without saying, I'm going to kill you all, or every one of you that vote against me is going to prison. Like, that says a lot for him, dude, because I
Yeah.
would have been on another level.
Hmm. Very true. Very, very true. So I don't know, man. We'll see what the future has for us. I just hope that the Trump team doesn't fumble the ball on this one because uh, I mean, this is a dark way to say it as well, but listen, Donald Trump escaped an assassin's bullet by a fraction of an inch, and one of
Mm,
his supporters in the audience got killed in the process. Okay.
right.
Maybe they thought that the temperature of the country would tone down after Trump won. I think people who know better knew that absolutely was not going to be the case, and this wasn't going to be a one and done thing. Had they taken this thing more seriously, had they had somebody like Matt Gaetz in there and actually gone hard against these people, it is entirely reasonable to assume that Charlie Kirk would still be with us. Okay. And if you fumble and drop the ball this time, there's going to be more of this stuff. You cannot be sitting here, on your ass on this one. There's just no way. You can disappoint the base over a number of issues, but the most very simple rule of politics just literally is that oh so great thing about it, it's just like a patronage network. It's like if you can't protect your supporters, then why the fuck is anyone supporting you, dude? Well,
Well,
so if
and
it,
they want you dead and they think it's funny. That's
oh
that's
yeah,
that goes to a whole new level now.
that's a Sam Hyde quote. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Hmm.
is it?
Yeah, yeah, he pioneered that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he's been saying it for years. Yeah,
Yeah.
but very, very, very true. Yeah, they,
I don't know why I thought it was Sam Francis. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's But yeah, so we'll see what happens. I hope they don't drop the ball. I hope everybody on the actual online scene, the anon scene, stays on target with this one and just keeps painting the left as the enemy because they absolutely are. Keep going for these people's employers. Keep doing that kind of stuff. Do whatever you can. I don't know. to just make sure Charlie didn't die in vain, man. That's the
Right.
best we can all
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. All right, man. Plug everything you got to plug, dude.
All right. The biggest thing people could check me out as just the OGC these days. Occasionally I write an article there for them, but I am the host of the Pony Express Radio, which is every Thursday on our channel with me and Pete Quinones, and we have some guests come on there from time to time. So check us out over there, and we're putting out some great stuff. And if you want to get involved, visit our website, theogloryclub.com. Check the chapters page. There's over 30 of them at this point all across the country, with plenty more coming along the way. So get involved in your local area, man.
Y'all got a new show that's popped up on my timeline. I haven't had a chance to listen to it. What are y'all doing there? It looks like y'all are doing some history.
Yeah, so on Mondays, my friend Charlemagne and Ryan Turnipseed are running American Spirits, which is just looking at and tackling the question in great detail of what is an American. And they have gone back to the very beginning. They're doing deep historical dives into all of our founding documents, all the founding groups that came to start America. They've been looking at the Puritans, they looked at New Englanders, they looked at the Southern gentry, they've looked at the Scots Irish, they've studied the American language. There's a huge argument to be made that English and American should be separate languages just because of the different vernacular people use and all that stuff. It's really, really deep history of what it actually means to be an American and American
I
people.
think this past week I saw they did the Articles of Confederation.
Yes, they did. They did do Articles of Confederation. I think they did the Frontier a couple weeks before that, looking at the spirit of America is actually the spirit of the frontier itself, which I think is obviously something I agree with as a huge outdoorsman myself. So
Mm.
yeah, they're doing some great stuff over there.
Badass, dude. Oh, I appreciate it. I'm gonna stop the recording.